One of the most beneficial resources Hosparus Health offers our community is the Grief Counseling Center, which is where we are. This is Bob and Joe. Joe, what services are offered here at the center?
We do a variety of programs, including individual and peer-centered support groups. We also do special family programs for children and adults of any age. We do educational programs. You name it, we'll try it once if it's helpful.
And who is allowed to utilize these resources?
Well, most people think that the bereavement services are available to only Hosparus families, and that is a service that we provide as part of our care for them. But a best kept secret is that a third of who we see are actually members of our community whose loved one never had hospice care, but who are nonetheless dealing with the death of a loved one, and we're here for everybody.
And Bob, in order to be able to be there for everybody, I mean, there has to be a cost to that.
There is, and this is all primarily supported by fundraising. People give memorials, honorariums, plan gifts, we get grants. It's about $1 million every year we raise for our whole bereavement programs.
And you take care of people of all ages, and like Joe said, you don't have to have Hosparus Health provide services for you, but it's Thanksgiving, and many of us, whether we're surrounded by family or maybe we have lost loved ones and aren't surrounded, if you have that heart of gratitude, you encourage people, take the time right now, and you could donate.
Right, and we're trying to create a culture of gratitude because people come in here because they're grateful for what we've done for their loved one, or they want to give back to their higher power. There's just so many reasons to be grateful, and this is the season to do it.
Joe, when you were talking about some of the services that you offer, can you just give us a little bit more detail of, I mean, how you help people work through that grief? Because if you're not working through it, I mean, it's like shackles.
Sure. Well, part of what we do is just basic grief education, like what is grief? When we're dealing with a loss due to death, sometimes we are overwhelmed by feelings we've never experienced before. And understanding that it's a natural, normal, and adaptive process, a healing process, and helping people kind of channel that and use that for their good, that's what we do. We bring people together so people who are sharing like journeys realize that they're not alone. What they're going through is normal, and they learn from that collective wisdom in our support groups. When they come together, when I can share with you what I've learned from my experience, it gives purpose to everything I'm going through and gives meaning to my loss. It's probably the most important thing we're able to help families do.
You also, I mean, one of your services, children. You
Absolutely.
help children, and I know you're going to teach me a craft in just a little bit, but you use art as a way
Absolutely.
to reach children and help them work through their grief as well.
Absolutely. Well, you know, big feelings, sometimes they defy words, but we can draw them out, we can move them out, we can sing them out, we can shout them out. There's lots of ways to identify our feelings and express them and get relief from letting them out in various ways. So using art particularly is a handy way for not just children. We do that plenty with adults as well.
My own husband has suffered loss of his father and his first wife, who died of lymphoma in 2010. And one of the things that we've made a concerted effort of is ensuring that they're celebrated.
Absolutely.
We acknowledge the loss, but we celebrate the life. What is one piece of advice that you would offer right now, Bob, to someone who's out there and maybe struggling with grief?
Well, to know we're here more than anything, because we are here for them, no matter what they're going through. They might be a hospice family, but even if they're not, we take care of people who have gone through sudden loss, like Joe said, murder, a suicide, an accident. Grief's the hardest thing you have to go through, and grief shared is grief spared too.
Absolutely. And Joe, one piece of advice.
Just reminding us that the root word of holidays is holy days, and what makes days holy or sacred in our family is gathering with people to whom we belong, feeling loved. And so while it matters that our loved one died, it matters much more that they live. So make room for both. Include them and embrace them in your holidays. Find ways to bring them to the Thanksgiving table through your stories. You know, there's some way to make them present rather than keeping them at bay.
Thank you, both of you.
Absolutely.
For more information or to donate, go to hosparushealth.org.